Are live.
Vetoes.
Spivey.
You
There's-
are.
Yeah.
You're my favorite cheerleader, man.
Thanks. You ever see those? I was just thinking about those prairie dog videos where it has the little prairie dog going, Alan, Steve. No, it's good to see you today, sir. Appreciate being able to hop on real quick. It's going to be a good builder's call.
Man, absolutely fired up. I got my good buddy Carl Miller going to be on with some of his top leaders. Carl is a incredibly servant leader, has one of the biggest hearts in all of the company. Pleasure to be around if you've ever had the opportunity. No stranger to this call as well is very dynamic duo here with Danielle and Josh. My buddy Grant Lieber out there killing it. Tyler Harris is going to be on in a little bit to talk about the social cue updates on the national call piece, but I can tell you that Grant has been all over it. We were just commenting on seeing how Grant's been showing up in social media.
Yeah, I saw this very, very high quality video that he did. Not that every video has to be high quality, but this one was, right? It was really good and fun to see Carl and crew on this call.
Absolutely. So we want to turn it over to our buddy, our partner in crime, Mr. Associate Partner, Carl Miller, who is awesome in every way except his cap.
That's right. Go blue.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. So grateful for you, Todd, Brian. Thank you for having us on this call. Definitely grateful for Brandon, Brian, and Casey for setting this whole thing up for us, just to be able to do it the way that we want to do it. And I'm Carl Miller. I'm direct to Ryan Miller, and also part of the Rob Puckett and Marshall Whalen family. And this call it just spoke to us when we were talking about it, about what we want to talk about: speed of the leader, speed of the pack. Okay. Most things that we learn about in life, they're not taught to us. We catch them, right? And we say that in this business all the time. But our business partners, they learn a lot more from us by watching what we do instead of just listening to what we say. And my first guest, he's doing exactly that. Okay, listen to this, guys. So $42,000 in personal production exclusively on Switchboard, Razor Ridge Leads last month. His team set a record with $234,000, right? Number one, also on the leaderboard with base shop riders, having two new riders in the base shop for last month. And then this week, getting ready for this call, opens up the week with $14,000 in production. So lead from the front is exactly what this person is doing. And without further ado, I would like to bring on Regional Agency Director, Grant Lieber.
Ooh, Carl, thank you, buddy. Grant Lieber, direct to Josh and Daniel Hershey, part of the Miller Wayland, part of the Miller Puckett Wayland. And I love the word family. I'm going to steal that from you. Part of the family, because that's really what we are. And really grateful to be here today. And really just, man, the last, few months, last several months have, just been a journey of really rediscovery for me, really rediscovery of kind of the roots that it takes to win at a high level, kind of the roots that it takes to you talk about lead from the front. And it's really like, what level of a leader do you want to be? Do you want to be a leader that people, kind of look up to just because your position says so, like kind of John Maxwell talks about as a level 1 leader? Or do we want to be kind of that level 4 or 5 leader that people just follow you because they see that you can truly bring them the right way and be that person for them? So, man, I appreciate you being that level 4, level 5 leader that I've been able to follow, as well as the Hershey's on here as well. I know we're going to hear from in a minute. But when we talk about like speed of the leader, speed of the pack, I actually want to be vulnerable for a minute and talk about a time where I was not, leading the pack in an appropriate way. And when I mean that, I think back to the summer of 2018. I just hit agency owner. We're kind of celebrating doing 60, 70, 80,000 a month. Life's groovy. We're kind of cruising through these promotion guidelines. And I hit a point where I really felt like man, I made it. I made it. I hit the goal that they said. And the one question that I want to kind of put out there, because this is a question I was asking myself back then, is how do you define freedom? And so I was thinking about that question. And for me, back when we were running out in the field 2-3 days a week, for me, freedom meant that I didn't have to be out in the field. It meant that I could be at home, I could do my mentoring calls, I could do my interviews, and I could work on building my business. And the problem with that logic is that I wasn't in the right place to do that yet. I wasn't in the right place from a financial standpoint. I wasn't in the right place from my posture as a leader. And I had people on my team that were looking up for someone who was going to show up. And I just wasn't showing up for them in the way that I should. And so I actually spent 4 months completely out of the field right after hitting agency owner. And when that happened, all of the growth curve that was going up into the right started to just level off a little bit. And so one of the common pitfalls I wanted to start with that I really hope some of the folks on here that are in the process of building their team see is that you don't want to hit that point where you felt like you made it and that you can get off. Because when you know that you made it, you'll know, right? Like I look up to some of the leaders here, they literally couldn't really kind of do some of the things that some of the earlier stage leaders could do because they just have so much of a team and so many people to really work with and mentor. So I just wanted to start with that is like, talking about being the speed of the leader is also what's the slowness of the leader, right? Like, are you someone who is driving your people forward, or are you someone who potentially is kind of getting their foot off the gas because they have a different definition of freedom, and now we're kind of slowing down? So now let's kind of fast forward to what's been going on in the last few months. So we all know that we've made quite a big switch after kind of going through COVID and now going through digital leads. And I don't think there's ever been a time where you can produce for as efficiently as you can at this stage. And so when I look at over the course of the last month, so you talk about maybe some numbers for February, I did 42,000 of production. It was on 66 digital leads. That's all. It was 66 digital leads. So we're averaging, call it whatever, 16, 17 leads a week. On average, booking about 10 appointments a week, sitting down virtually over the phone, sitting down with about 7 or 8 people and really helping just about every family I sat with the exception of 1 or 2 a week. And so that level of production, winding the clock back 3-4 years ago, would be multiple days in the car, would be multiple days on the phone. Now it's a matter of putting in a lead order, having leads come in that we're able to text and get on the phone and maybe make a couple phone calls. And then we're now able to efficiently build our business with the time to produce at a high level. And so like, Carl, when I think about like how I'm trying to lead from the front for my team, I think about how am I leveraging the resources that are already out there and accessible to all of us to be able to maximize my ability. And so now you talk about like, what does maximizing that mean? So, now that we do have production at a high level, I've never had relationships with people on my team as strong as they are now. And I mean that from 2 different kind of facets. The one side is I've never had as strong of a relationship with the leaders on my team because there's a level of connection and there's a level of respect that comes when you are doing the work that you are asking of them and that you're coaching on them. When you're someone who is out there kind of trying to drive from the back, when you're on the top of the chariot and you're whipping the horses, like, you don't have that posture because they don't see you running with them. When you're out there with them, running right alongside them, it creates a relationship where you're able to work with people, not only as a mentor, but also as a colleague and as a peer, and you see eye to eye. And so I've never been in a position where I felt as strongly connected with the people on my team. And I think so much of that has to do with the fact that they see me out there doing it. And they respect the fact that I'm not trying to go out there and tell them that they should go ahead and put up numbers that I'm not capable or willing to put up myself, whether that's dials or contacts or appointments or production. So that's kind of the first thing is relationships. And I want to talk about. And so now we go back to that question of how do I define freedom? Well, that's a way that I'm now redefining freedom is relationships with people on my team. Another way that I'm defining freedom is the financial resources that come from it. So this is a builder's call, and you talk about, well, why did you just spend 10 minutes talking about production on a builder's call? Well, the reason being is because the ability to produce at a high level allows the resources financially to be able to make that investment in these different initiatives and different things that we're doing. We all understand that times have changed. Spivey and B-Dubs were talking a minute ago about kind of that video I threw on Facebook. Like, that video was thrown on Facebook as a result of an investment that was made in trying to get better at social media and trying to build my business that way, which is a weak spot for me. And by the way, guys, you're going to see me screw up a lot. You're going to see me put up some silly stuff on there, and I'm going to make a fool of myself, but I'm not afraid to do it. And Tyler Harris, I want to thank you for inspiring me to not be afraid to do it, because I'm just going to go out there and make a mess of activity, which is what I've always done. And I know it's going to work out the right way. So now we've got kind of the resources to make investments and do things of that nature. And then you also have the ability to look. Now we've got our leaders that are looking at us and having that relationship. How do I appear to a new agent? How do I look to someone who's coming to this business and they're saying, you know what, I'm really interested in coming in. I see the ability to make a 6-figure income. How do I do it? And I can turn around and just tell them, well, let me just show you what happened the last 3 days in my business. I can tell you about the 10 appointments I booked and the 8 people I sat with and the 7 policies I wrote. So by leading from the front in that sense, you can not only give them a metric for them to be able to do it in the way they want, but you're also literally showing them just your past week of results or your past month of results. Now, I want to give you one little caveat here, and this is something to keep in mind. You don't need to be a $20 or $30 or $40,000 a month producer to attract that level of producer. So I do want to clarify that even though there might be a good bit of production going on, you don't have to be that ultra high quality producer to attract that person. What they're attracted to is the consistency. Like Carl, when you started here, man, I saw that you were still in the field full time. I was attracted to that consistency. I saw you as a leader I could follow. I didn't have to doubt whether or not, I could call you up and ask you a question about how to write a policy because I just saw you write 5 yesterday, So that ability to have the posture with your team doesn't always mean you have to be a super high quality producer. It certainly helps if it does, but the consistency is key. And so now when I have new people that I'm working with and that we're onboarding new people, I'm not necessarily spending maybe the time I was trying to be the coach from the side, but instead I'm just trying to be the captain on the field running right alongside with them. I'm passing them the ball. They're passing it back to me. I'm showing them how to pick up the ball. There was an agent just this morning that she was meeting with a family, and we were struggling a little bit to solve the client's problem. She kind of phoned me in. I got on the phone. It took about the good 30, 45 minutes to really uncover this problem, but we were able to find a solution, and she was able to help them with a couple policies. That is a team effort, 100%. And so because I'm, able to kind of do this thing full time as a producer, in addition to the team building, I'm able to be there from them with that posture of I'm going to be the captain on the field running right with you. And so when I think about what we do here, I think that we're failing our people if we are not showing them a path that we've walked first. And we have to honor all of the innovation and all of the strategies that are coming, because I got to be totally honest with you. If 42,000 a month was how it used to be, 5 years ago, where that meant, picking up, as many leads as it did, and, booking 25, 30 appointments and running around in the field all day, like, I'll be honest, I don't think I'd be doing that. I'd be doing some production, but not that much. And so we have all of these resources, whether it's switchboard and digital leads and just the updated sales process and NEPQ and all of these initiatives that have been put in front of us. It's allowed us to be incredibly efficient in a very short window of time. So, Carl, what I really just wanted to kind of leave you with is how do we define freedom? And if freedom for you is the fact that you built an agency to a point where you have a little bit of passive income to feel comfortable and you feel that you're happy there, we're not telling you to go ahead and get back on the track full steam. But what we're telling you is that there's so much more left in the tank for people that are willing to run for it. And with how efficient we are with some of these new systems and new processes, you don't have to be that good to be having a lot of success here. And I think that's what the last 3 months have meant for me. So with that, dude, I'll send it back your way.
So good, Grant. I mean, the best way to teach is by letting them watch you, right? And think about how much time that saves you. Yeah, so you're producing, but you're also showing them, right? So they get to see it. And then you touched on one big thing too. If what you ask other people to do isn't consistent with what you're asking of yourself, then you undermine your influence, right? And so the fact that you're doing what you're doing, you can't ask others to perform at a high level if you can't first ask that of yourself, and you're doing it, brother. So I'm super proud of you, man. All right, my next guest, this power couple, you know, they've been there with me pretty much from the beginning. I look at what they did in February 2022. Their team wrote 276,000. In their base shop, they wrote 16,000. Let's fast forward it to February 2023, $416,000. 58,000 in the base. And then you guys wrote 18,000 in personal production yourself. And Josh, you guys had 2 new writers in the base shop as well. So again, same thing with you. You two are clearly expecting a high level out of yourselves, and it's stemming down. So without further ado, let me introduce everybody to regional agency directors, Josh and Danielle Hershey.
Hey, Carl. Good morning. Good afternoon. Depending where you live. Josh Hershey. I am director Carl Miller, part of the Ryan Miller, Rob Puckett, Marshall Whalen hierarchy. Super excited to be here. Grateful to be here. You know, Grant, I love what you're saying, and it does. The leader, if the leader's not leading, who's following? And, you know, I've been reading a book recently. It's called Never Finished by David Goggins. It's his sequel. So the cool thing about being that this is a leader's call and a builder's call is that book, the second book that he wrote, is actually when he becomes famous, right? It's when he becomes famous, and now he's got all these people giving him praise. And so guess what? He went from running 100-mile marathons to speaking, right? He went from doing all these crazy, awesome, incredible things to being behind a desk, being, you know, flying around the country and having to get in his exercises. And so he kind of lit the gas off. And he has a saying in that book. He says, you know, when we lose, we start to lose that inner savage when we don't get our teeth kicked in as often, and we start eating praised pudding, right? And I thought to myself, like, how often, Carl, am I eating praised pudding? Like, and how much am I eating? You know, like you get to key leader, you get to agency owner. Every time you get a promotion, we should, you know, no doubt pat ourselves on the back. But how long are we patting ourselves on the back before we get back out there? You know, and one of the things I realized when I was new is it was easy to follow you. It was easy to follow Ryan, Rob, and everybody, Marshall. It was easy to follow you. You guys told me exactly what to do, how to be successful. But as the years have progressed, you know, things become habits, and it's not all just about dollars and cents, Carl, right? Like, it's about here, right? It's about your heart. It's about everything around you. So not just running from the front with dollars and cents, but running from the front is what my mission is, on top of production and recruiting, is running from the front from personal development. You know, and I think it's important because, you know, I look at it like, you know, Casey always talks about the cake recipe, you know, and I love that. And I've used that, and it's incredible, right? Like, if you have the right ingredients and you bake it at the right time, guess what? You're going to have this result. But I started looking around at my shop, Carl, and I realized, like, I needed to spruce it up a little bit in 2023. And I've been thinking about this before the new year, Carl. I wanted to add something else. And you know what I did, Carl? I said, listen, I'm going to go in the back, and instead of just baking my cakes, I'm going to make some cookies and brownies for my wife and for my daughter. So when I get home, I got something nice to give them. I'm also going to make maybe a little room in the back that's got a gym and a smoothie machine, so I can eat healthy and make sure my energy is at a high level. Maybe have a little nook for reading to make sure I got my personal development breaks, you know, in the morning or in the evening. And then, you know what, with all the extra income that I have on the weekends, I give back to the people that are less fortunate. So re-sprucing my habits and adding more value to people around me. So leading in that aspect. And I talked to, you know, my base shop and a lot of people on my team about this. And this is what I've been doing. It's a new journal. It's called The Greatest Journal Ever. And I've done many journals in the past, Carl, and this is by far my favorite. Because we can sit here and say, I'm going to read in the morning, I'm going to make dials, I'm going to do this. But on top of the activity reports that we have at Quility, what else are we tracking? What else am I tracking as a leader? I want to know how well I'm actually doing, Carl. So for example, I just put the blank example on here because my handwriting's horrible and, I don't want to be super embarrassed on here, but, some of the categories, Carl, that I looked at was, what's my family habits? What's my business habits? What's my self-development habits? And what are my community habits? And the cool thing about this tracker is every single day you get to check off at the end of the day what you did and what you didn't accomplish. Right? And the neat thing is it's still like a regular journal. If we go to the next slide. And what am I doing every day before I start my journal, Carl? I'm reminding myself what I'm grateful for. Why am I here? What am I happy to be here for? Because you can't be upset and grateful at the same time. Right? So I'm starting my day with that. And then at the end of the day, I can add in there what I accomplished and what I didn't accomplish. And then the final thing that I love about journaling and journaling in this aspect and leading from the front in this way, Carl, is that I have a 30-day, a 60-day, a 90-day, and a 100-day reflection on where I'm actually moving forward as a leader. What am I accomplishing as a leader? So something I've got into a lot lately. And then one of the things I've had to come to the conclusion because we've stumbled along the way. We've been stuck, but maybe I haven't gotten to where I want to go because I haven't become the person I need to become. Right? Maybe God has a plan and God will only give us what we can handle and what we deserve. So I need to remain humble, calm, and grateful in the beginning here. And one thing I want to say before I hand it over to my beautiful wife is what I've learned and what I'm working on. I'm not perfect yet, Carl, but I am grateful. And I know everyone above me that's paved the way deserves me to be at my top in all categories. I know the people that I work with, the giants I get to stand on their shoulders of, the people on my team, like Grant and everyone on the team, they deserve me to be at my best in all categories. My wife, my daughter, my family, my community, they all deserve me to be at the best. And you know what? I deserve to be at the best. And I think I can do it, And if someone hasn't told anybody or everybody on this line today, you also deserve it. And you're worth it. So I'm going to get after it this year, Carl. I'm going to focus on the production, but I'm also going to focus on the other details of personal development and making sure I'm, 90 to 100% on those. So with that, Carl, man, I'm going to pass it to my better half and beautiful wife, Miss Danielle. How you doing?
Doing good. Just wow, and if you guys can't tell, we love what we do here and we love who we do it with. I just want to say thank you. Thank you all for having us on. This company has truly been life-changing. Don't know where we would be today without it. I want everybody to know that I am about this company. I am so glad we get to share with you today. I am just passionate, and it's really come to fruition over the last several months, where we're not being the secret agents. And I just want to start by saying, Carl shared these numbers with you as our part of our introduction. So a lot of people probably heard those numbers and they look at us and they see success, and there has been some. We've had success for sure, but we're not where we want to be yet, as you heard Josh say. Some folks probably see our team of 60 agents and they saw how we did over 400,000 in business last month and think, wow, they made it. But we haven't yet. You see, we're not always in the high performance quadrant. If you were on the call last week, you saw Mike and Jennifer Colburn's display, and they displayed it so nicely. They shared 4 quadrants of this business. And it was really a great illustration and a reminder of where we've been and where we are now and where we are going to be to get to the next level. The high recruiting, the high activity quadrant for the production, that is the balance. That is symmetry. doing both consistently is what takes you up and to the right. Then you get to have that time freedom, right? We didn't really earn it yet. But I know for me, I took our time lightly, probably through more seasons of this business than I should have. I'm going to get a little raw and real here. We have been sitting at the same contract level for almost 2 years. 2 years. Well, it would have been the same contract level if the owners weren't so kind and gave us two bump ups, right, without us actually earning it. But in all seriousness, we were knocking on 110 back then. We were knocking on 120 last year, and now we're knocking on 130. Why were we stuck? What has changed now? I mean, there's two of us, right? So shouldn't it have been that much easier? It could have been. It should have been. But it can be a blessing and a curse to work together as a couple. If you're not aligned on the same page and both focused on the right things, it can stall your business, not move the business. We weren't leading from the front in that area. You hear it, relationships matter, people come first. Well, our marriage, maybe your marriage, our daughter, maybe your kids, our leaders, the closest people weren't coming first. So we had to refocus on that. Our finances, what we were spending versus investing, what we started getting when we started getting nice overrides, we just expected that and that those overrides would cover everything. But me and Josh, we take care of a lot of things. We help family, we like to invest in the business. We like to do nice things, have nice things. So I got lazy in our personal production income. I stopped producing like the top producer I am, but I still expected the same outcome. So we had to realign there too. I got pretty sick. That kind of knocked me off my butt for doing all the personal production, the physical stuff, doing my exercising, eating right. And I got groggy, and that really influenced what we did. So you see, there were many things that affected our growth. As Josh said, you're not going to get more than you can handle. And we couldn't handle more the last couple of years. So what we did the last 6 months of our business, why it's so different. Last fall, we started putting our marriage first. We committed to a date night a few times a month. Every Sunday, we spend it as a family. We focus on the family. It's made a difference. We make our schedules. They're filled with personal development, team strategies, time for communication with our leaders, and we give back in our community. It's made a difference. A big push that I have to give credit for was focusing on the right people. Huge shout out to Agency Director Menno Glick and Agency Owner Amy Anderson. They really helped us get back to our basics in our onboarding process, and they helped level out our business during the time where we just weren't really focused on the positive things. They brought the positivity. So I appreciate you both so much. Another thing we started in early January was a 30-day challenge. A lot of the team thought this was to kickstart the team for the year, but it was really for me to refocus on my growth, my mind, my body, my finances. So every day we posted a challenge, and we committed to following Grant and his team with the onboarding in Razor Ridge. We decided not be secret agents. We use social media platforms, and it's really attracting all the right people. So thank you, Tyler. Whether the people are here to work with us or get a policy from us, it's really made a difference. So I share that to let you know we're now implanting all of the right pieces and actually doing them. We're not just talking about it. So we are moving to where we can and should be now, but we're not there or not done yet, Carl.
I'm doing what Todd's doing. I wrote down one last thought, Todd, and it just sum it all up. Perfection is unattainable, but it's not about perfection. It's about what we learn, what we become, how we change. into becoming our best, right? Our personal greatness is found along the way, and you guys are finding your stride just like the rest of this company. So Brian, Todd, thank you for having us on. We'll turn it back over to you.
Carl, Danielle, Josh, Grant, man, that was phenomenal, guys.
Yeah.
Really, just 2 days ago, we're sitting in this home office and we're talking about looking at the analytics and how this digital transformation and what ways has it impacted our business. And one of the ways in which we see is based on how we're acquiring and buying leads right now. We're seeing less production from agents that are above a 95% contract level. And what you guys just hit on is exactly what we've got to continue to see and be modeled throughout this entire organization is leadership from the front. You've got to see the Miranda Martins out there that hasn't been in personal production for years say, here's a brand new lead that I've never worked before that my agents are consistently working. I need to know what's going on and how to best assist them. Brian Delaney jumping back in the field and being that leader from the front. We've got to continue to see that, guys. And Carl, I just really appreciate the timely message, my friend. And I hope everybody was taking notes. Phenomenal job, guys. That's it.
It's a wrap.
Now I'd like to welcome up my good buddy, fearless leader.
Oh, baby.
Meredith Ellison's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. That makes much more sense. I can promise you that.
That's good.
All right. I've got a couple of exciting things to do, including leaderboards and a special announcement from our good buddy, Mr. Dennis Clifford, but not yet. Not yet, Dennis, because we're going to start with Mayor and Whit on a really cool announcement, something that we're trying for the first time. This is a live trial. Is that right, Whit?
Yes.
Meredith?
There's no need to mess around with pilots. We're going all in.
Everybody out there is like, they got real nervous.
The good news is if it doesn't work, it's all going to be okay. Everybody understand? It's all going to be okay. This is just for fun. This is just for fun.
This is a for fun pilot, so don't worry. We're not changing. So I will share my screen, right?
Sure.
Right.
Sounds great. Get us kicked off.
So we got a call lined up for today.
Boom.
Becoming a referral magnet from Referral Magnets. 3 referral magnets. So stick around. But before then, Meredith and Whit, should I go to the